Alright boys, I'm back once again with another video. Now, this video is going to be the conclusion to the 3-part series on testosterone that I've been doing over the past 3 weeks now. So, this video is going to be the solutions to the aforementioned endocrine disruptors. So, without further ado, let's just get straight into this shit. So, obviously, I've got some notes here. There are many actionable steps that you can take towards increasing your testosterone and combating these endocrine disruptors. I'll probably make a video sometime in the future talking about the most important things for increasing your testosterone and like the smaller things that don't have as big of an impact, but also when added together can create a big impact, you know, the aggregation of marginal gains, you know, exponential effect, basic shit. But let's start with the basic stuff, the easy stuff to combat endocrine disruptors. So the first will be in regards to water. So at all costs, guys, as if this wasn't obvious. Fucking hell, something came in my eye again, always when I'm recording. But yeah, as mentioned in the last video, always avoid tap water at all costs, unless it's the last, like, unless there's nothing else you can drink. Avoid tap water. Like, I would rather drink, okay, let me think about this statement. I honestly think I would rather drink, well, obviously I'd rather drink sparkling water than tap water, but I'd rather drink those like shitty flavored waters, like, you know, those ones from Volvic. Like, if you're from the UK, you'll know, like the Volvic yellow bottle, red bottle, those, red cap, those ones. I'd rather drink those than tap water. I'd rather drink anything than tap water, but honestly, I don't quite know which one's worse, tap water or like the shitty sugary drinks. It's probably the sugary drinks, to be honest. But yeah, avoid tap water at all costs. If you can, get a stainless steel bottle and fill up your water using a reverse osmosis machine, and then re-add minerals to your water in a number of ways. Like, you can throw some salt in, or like some people have like a full-on concoction of ions and minerals that you can put back into the water to make it healthy. Because when you use the reverse osmosis machine, it takes out a lot of those minerals, but it also filters out the dog shit, you know what I mean? I personally drink bottled water because a reverse osmosis machine is very expensive. Now, bottled water, as mentioned before, is suboptimal relative to having an actual reverse osmosis machine and carbon filtration system, but it's still legions better than having fucking tap water, bro. If you know a plumber, ask the plumbers what the pipes look like, and they will tell you the most concerning shit ever. In fact, you could probably find a video on YouTube. Just search like water pipes or some shit like that, like on YouTube, dirty water pipes on YouTube. It will probably come up. But yeah, I personally drink bottled water when I have the sufficient funds to get a stainless steel bottle, reverse osmosis machine, and then carbon filtration system. Then I'll probably get that as soon as possible, as soon as it doesn't highly impact my pockets. And you'll see a recurring theme in this video. Most of the things that allow you to dodge the endocrine disruptors actually cost money, which is how backwards our world is. The stuff that makes you healthy is more expensive, obviously because pharma benefits from it, but that's a whole different story. We don't want to get into that. Might get demonetized before I'm even monetized, shadow banned and shit, before I'm even pushed in the algorithm. Fuck that. But yeah, try and have quick, like short, quick showers. If you can't afford a shower filter, obviously you'll want a shower filter if you can. If you just search fluoride shower filter on Amazon, it'll like one of those top like 3 or 4 or 5, just look through the reviews. They'll tell you a very good story as to whether the product is optimal for your health in filtering those heavy metals and the shitty estradiol and all that stuff from your tap water. So onto food. Now, off the top of my head, I'd be lying to you if I said I knew all the foods that helped in testosterone production or foods that had estrogenic properties, so properties that make you produce estrogen, right? But off the top of my dome, anything soy related, so tofu, edamame, soy sauce, flaxseed is one of those as well. Not soy related, but it's one of the things that is estrogenic in nature. Those 3 are the things I know off the top of my head that are estrogenic. The thing with soy related food, which is the biggest shame in my opinion, is Asian food is amazing. Let's be honest here. And I'll be honest with you, I'm not even gonna lie and say I don't use soy sauce. I use soy sauce, I'd say once every 3 to 4 months in my cooking, because I just like mixing up different foods. I don't like meal prepping the same boring shit over and over and over and over. It's like, it's very effective, but it's not, you know what I mean? It's novelty is the most enjoyable thing to the brain of humans, and I'm no exception. That's the best way to put it. So organic foods are paramount when it comes to food, because obviously they haven't gone through the whole process of being sprayed with pesticides and having weed killers sprayed around them and all of that shit. They probably won't have as many preservatives. In fact, they shouldn't have any preservatives because they are organic, and the promise is organic food is the process of bringing that food to you has no chemicals involved, right? So organic foods are the most important here because you dodge loads of the endocrine disruptors like well in advance. So avoid ingredients that you cannot pronounce. So anything that's like more than 10 letters, it's safe to say you'd want to stay away from that. Like if you see stuff like aspartame, that's a well-known artificial sweetener that's got loads and loads of links to cancer. It's in like Coca-Cola and sugary drinks, but whatever. Any processed foods, like highly processed foods and refined carbohydrates. So refined carbohydrates are a processed food, but let me give you an example of what I mean when I say processed food. So for example, if you were to walk into a grocery store, for example, and you were to see packaged ham or I mean, I don't eat ham or pork or shit like that, or I do, but I try to avoid it at all costs. Like you'll never see me cooking pig. But yeah, like packaged ham, salami, stuff of that nature, like meats in you guys know what I mean. You know what I mean. Like when it's already cooked, ready to eat, like chorizo circles, that sort of stuff. That is gonna be detrimental to your testosterone levels. And then when I say refined carbohydrates, this is fizzy drinks. So we call them fizzy drinks, sodas for you guys in America, or pop, as you say it in some places. You will have Krispy Kreme, stuff like that, like cakes, donuts, that sort of stuff. Of course, I'd be lying to you once again if I said I didn't eat that stuff on a fairly frequent basis. It's more than I'd like to be eating it. Like I probably have like a donut every, I don't know, like 3 months, something like that, 2-3 months, something like that. Just a little cheat meal to keep me going, because eating the same thing over and over is, like I mentioned before, very boring. So when it comes to foods that you want to aim to be eating on a frequent basis, cruciferous vegetables are amazing for you. So you'll see me very, very frequently cooking with broccoli. There's actually a meme amongst my friend group right now, all the people that go to the gym, fucking hell, I can't speak English, where one of my friends has a problem with his fat distribution and his weight gain, being that his fat distributes in like his love handle area, that sort of stuff, right? Which is a sign of low testosterone, but it's also genetically influenced, but it's a sign of low test. And I was telling him, because his diet is pretty shit, all he does is eat out all the time. You know what I'm talking to. All you do is eat out every day, bro. But yeah, now he's improving, he's meal prepping and shit like that. But the meme is that I was saying to him, you don't eat any fucking vegetables. Get some broccoli on your dick, like get some broccoli on your plate. And like he was he sent in a like raging voice note where he was like, if you think broccoli's gonna make the difference, you're fucking retarded. And obviously that wasn't the point. My point wasn't that broccoli will make the difference, but it can definitely help. You know what I mean? So cruciferous vegetables, broccoli, cauliflower, kale, Brussels sprouts, spinach, that sort of stuff, very, very, very beneficial for your testosterone levels. So tuna is also very good, canned or steak, doesn't really matter. The steak version, unless I'm confused with a different type of fish, I'm pretty sure it's tuna though. The steak version isn't safe to eat on a regular basis. So the steak version is the richer people's version of eating tuna. But funny enough, canned tuna is actually better when it's not wrapped in plastic for the BPA, right? Because tuna steak in general tends to have higher levels of mercury. So if you were to eat tuna steak on a very frequent basis, like every, I don't know, like 4 or 5 times a day for an extended period, a very extended period of time, you could be susceptible to mercury poisoning. Fun fact. But yeah, tuna with vitamin D3 assists in testosterone production, which is obviously very beneficial because it's combating these endocrine disruptors, right? Then we've got foods that contain allicin, which is foods from the allium family. So allicin is like a compound that you find from foods in the allium family that is very beneficial for testosterone. So it will be garlic, onions, red onions, scallions, or spring onions, wherever you're from, it's a different name, leeks, chives, etc. The allicin in garlic is a lot more potent and readily available, unless correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think I am though, is a lot more readily available than the allicin in onion, which is why if you see my cooking recipes, I'm probably going to post a recipe with tuna at some point. And then if you've seen my prior recipes, you'll see I probably cook with like 3, minimum 2 cloves of garlic every single time I cook, because of this fact that the allicin in garlic is more prevalent than the allicin in onion. But I use both in pretty much every recipe. What I cooked yesterday was like some CBR, I call it the CBR stir fry. There's chicken, broccoli and rice stir fry, but it's got like garlic, obviously onion, bell peppers. I'll probably be uploading that sometime soon. But yeah, fatty foods, so the good types of fats, as I mentioned before in my prior video, do not consume trans fats. So if you walk into a McD's, Burger King, KFC, the chicken shops around the corner, them shits there, don't eat the food from there. That is loaded with trans fats. Loaded, absolutely loaded. So try not to deep fry food. Try and avoid vegetable oils, canola oil, that sort of stuff. Genuine olive oil is very hard to find. Do some research on that. But yeah, fats really help with hormone production because, well, if you think about it, actually, I'm not going to get too scientific on you guys, but healthy fats assist in your hormone production, which is why if you know anything about bodybuilding, you'll know the guys who go on stage for the Olympias, they are never ever at super low body fats for extended periods of time because their bodies are just completely fucked. The fats help produce hormones in general, testosterone included. So if you're like sub 10% body fat, like being the best range to be in terms of body fat is 8 to 14, because that's when you can healthily produce testosterone and you can still see abs. But when you're too far low, your body doesn't have enough fat to make your hormones, so you just feel like shit, you're always tired, etc, etc, etc. But the good fats comes in the form of stuff like salmon, nuts, fish oil, that sort of stuff, butter, grass-fed butter. And if you cook with, like, this is kind of advanced, but like some people cook with lard. I've never done it before, but if it's anything grass-fed, when it comes from a cow, is generally very good for you. And try to slow down as much. Shit, I got something in my throat. Pause. Slow down on fast food, because fast food joints are businesses ultimately, and the modus operandi of businesses is to make money, profit, right? So businesses will always have, or fast food restaurants specifically, will always have the cheapest shite ingredients and will always be processed where they can, and then it will normally be like pre-packaged. They'll just defrost it. It's just shit food. Just stay away from it. It's just shit food. That's all I can really tell you. And obviously they're not taking care of like the sourcing of their ingredients and stuff like that. They just want money, so they don't give a fuck about your health. As long as you're paying them, they're good. They don't care what happens to you, you know what I mean? And the third big thing, the overarching thing in terms of combating endocrine disruptors, it's not actually directly impactful, but sleeping is very, very important for your testosterone production. If you're not sleeping enough, you're fucked. I don't know how to tell you. You have to be sleeping at least, for most people, the good number is between 7 to 9 hours. So research, I believe his name is Dr. Matthew Walker. He's the world's leading sleep expert. He talks about a lot of things in relation to sleep, like not using your phones for an hour before you sleep, or I may have gotten that from somewhere else, but it's very beneficial as well. Not sleeping with your phones in your room. You basically, what you want is completely optimized sleep. And another YouTuber called Hamza actually gave some very good advice on sleeping that I never thought of before, because I never really had a problem with falling asleep, but I did kind of have a problem with quality of sleep. So he said, if you want to sleep 8 hours, for example, you need to be in your bed, or you need to allocate 10 hours to be asleep. So you need to be, if you wanted to sleep at like 9 o'clock, no, if you wanted to wake up at 5 and you wanted to sleep 8 hours, you should be in bed at 7. Now that's kind of impractical advice in my opinion. I think you should just leave an hour in between your initial period of getting into bed and sleeping, or getting into your room and sleeping. So what I personally do is what I call the 3-2-1 method. So 3 hours before sleeping, I don't consume any food. 2 hours before sleeping, I don't consume any water or any other liquid. And an hour before sleeping, I don't use any screens. And what I do is I leave both my phones outside of my room, and then I'll sleep like a baby. It's been amazing. It's just so it's a completely different level of optimization. But like, I'll get into bed at 9 o'clock with the intention of sleeping 7 to 8 hours, and then I'll wake up at 5 with an alarm. So yeah, it's amazing. Also, invest in a like alarm clock, like the ones that have a bell, they go drrrr, one of those, or just like a digital one as well. You can just slap it on your windowsill, because obviously you'll most probably have curtains, right? If what you want to do is you want to put your alarm on the other side of the curtains, not like on the side of your bed where it's readily accessible, because once you open the curtains, like you're less likely to go back to sleep. because of the sunlight and all that shit. And then also try and put it away from, try and put it in a place where you have to get up and get out of bed in order to reach it, because once you're out of bed, you're less likely to get back into bed. So that was a bit of a overload on sleep knowledge or sleep techniques. But sleep ultimately is actually the human body's superpower, body and brain superpower, because while you're asleep, you just have so many bodily processes that just restore and regenerate your body. It's unbelievable. You'd be so surprised. Like I said, research Dr. Matthew Walker, I believe that is his name. I'm itching to check my phone, but I don't check my phone when I'm recording. But yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Dr. Matthew Walker. He's got a good book on sleep. Read that. But yeah, to conclude this 3-part series, I'd just like to highlight the importance of the compound effect. So these small changes are like evidence at a crime scene, okay? If you see, I don't know if I've made this analogy before, but if you, let's say for example, these are 4 different pieces of evidence, right? These are 4 different pieces of evidence. A murder weapon on its own is irrelevant, right? Because it's just a weapon. Cool, you know it killed someone, but it has no further evidence on it. Then this is prints on the murder weapon, right? Cool. So now you have a bit more evidence to say that this suspect probably killed this person, right? Cool. Then you have a lack of an alibi. So now you're getting a pretty convincing case that the person actually committed the crime. And then the final piece, the nail in the coffin, will be the person had a clear motive for wanting to murder this other person. So with those 4 pieces of evidence combined, you have a solid case that X murdered X. Do you know what I mean? And it's the same with this testosterone boosting or correcting or overcorrecting, whatever the fuck you want to call it, protocol, even though it's not really a protocol. Many of them together, just stack them, and as I mentioned before in the video, the aggregation of marginal gains will help you, and across an extended period of time you'll just get a compounding effect of testosterone until obviously it eventually plateaus and starts to flatten out. But at those points you can start experimenting with the trenbolone acetate. Now I'm trolling, but yeah man, the small changes will gradually make bigger changes as you go on. And what have I said here? Start small and gradually make bigger changes that are in line with your potential and available time and money that you can invest into these actions. And the most important thing is taking action, like actually doing the shit that you know will benefit you in the long run when it comes to your testosterone. So like I'd say the 3 most important things are the ones I just mentioned: diet, water, and sleep, because they're the things that you come into contact with the most on a day-to-day basis, right? You're not going a day without eating unless you're doing like a special type of fast, like a water fast or some shit like that. You're not going without water unless you're doing a dry fast, again, special type of fast. And you're definitely not going without sleeping unless you have a genuine intention to fucking ruin your testosterone and your productivity levels and all of that shit. Just believe me, you don't want to be pulling all-nighters. The best way to fix a fuck sleep schedule as well, this is actually some pretty valuable advice: don't try and pull an all-nighter and then sleep the next time. It just fucks some shit. It fucks your shit up. This is actually a longer method, but it works most of the time, and it will always be better than pulling an all-nighter but you think your sleep's fixed, because you'll be getting lower quality sleep. So what you want to do is, if you're going to bed at 5 a.m. for example, what you want to do is sleep an hour earlier every day. So it will take you 5 days to get to midnight, and then pull it back as much as you want it to be. 11, 10, 9, 8. Some people sleep at 8. I wouldn't do that. personally, unless I want to wake up at 4. But yeah, just pull it back an hour every day instead of trying to pull an all-nighter, because that shit fucks you up. So the first actionable step that you can potentially take, for example, would be getting a stainless steel water bottle. Or if you have more disposable income, you could get a reverse osmosis machine, or only consume organic products. Organic fish and meat and stuff like that is very expensive, so you'll need a lot of disposable income for that. But you can also do like a shower filter. That's relatively cheap. They'll probably be like sub £100, which is like what, 140, 130 something dollars. Then, like, for example, in a month, if you started off with the water bottle, you can start making diet adjustments. You know, like I mentioned, the small changes compounded and piled on top of each other begin to make a very large difference across a long enough time frame. So all I can really say from here on is I just encourage you guys, I implore you to do your own research. Don't take what I'm saying at face value. What I could be saying could be completely wrong. I've done a lot of research into this topic, so it most probably isn't. But still do your own research and get your own information. If you're going to do research on topics like this that are kind of sensible, try to not go on Google. Google will probably tell you this stuff, but a safe place to check is like to search is like DuckDuckGo, for example. They don't have the mass censorship that Google has. And then Yandex is also a good browser to search for this sort of stuff. When it comes to stuff like fluoride in water, you would want to search on Yandex and DuckDuckGo. But there are probably some videos on YouTube about this as well. But yeah, guys, do your own research and take action. Those are the two most important things from this video if you were to get rid of all the advice I gave you. It's day one or one day. The choice is yours, guys. It's all in your control. Make a difference in your life so you can make a difference in the lives of the people you care about. I'm out, boys. Thank you for watching. If you made it this far, get fucked.